So there are a few main coping strategies that avoidants, both fearful and dismissive avoidants, will resort to when they are starting to feel activated in a relationship and when they are starting to feel like they need justification to leave. So here's what they are, and I also think they sometimes go in this order. I obviously experienced this with my dismissive avoidant ex, but I also felt this when I was experiencing the avoidant side towards someone else. And what's so confusing about it is that if you are avoidant in any way, you genuinely are starting to feel these things, even if there are underlying causes for why you feel this way. It is such a strong feeling for you that like you are just committed to this belief system. So the first coping strategy, and I think this one often comes first too, is I can never be enough for this person. Like I can never measure up to all their requirements. They just have so many things that they need from me all the time. I'm just never going to be able to give them what they need. Like they're such a great person. They deserve to be with someone that can give them what they need. And like, that's just not me. And that usually starts to come up for the avoidant after they have genuinely tried like a number of times to, do the things you've asked of them, but it hasn't been sustainable because they genuinely struggle with commitment. So a lot of shame starts to build up for them and they start to feel like, I can't measure up. I'm just not enough for them. The second thing that I think starts coming up for them after they've been feeling this shame for a little while is, me and this person are just not compatible. And this is when the whole ick factor starts to come in. Now, I know how strongly I was feeling it, but I hadn't ever dated this person romantically. We were just kind of in like a very long stretched out talking stage. But so I don't know how avoidants feel after they have already been in a committed romantic relationship with someone. But at least for me, like when the ick factor started to come in, it was such a fucking strong feeling. Like I can't even explain. Like it's like your brain, the avoidance brain starts hyper focusing on these things that do not fucking matter, that are easily resolvable in any relationship. Like they can be like physical attributes of the person, or they could be just little small things about the person that are so easily resolvable. Like with my ex, it was him telling me that I'm not outdoorsy enough, or it could be just, physical things on the person that you're just hyper focusing on. You know what I mean? Like, no, I don't want that in a person. It's crazy. And it feels so strong for the avoidant. You just get so hyper focused on it. You can't see anything past it. So you start to convince yourself that you're just simply not compatible with this person. And it causes this huge reaction in the anxious partner too, which even gives you more of an ick, because then you're feeling like you guys aren't compatible. So you start kind of pulling away a little bit, and then the anxious person gets really reactive because of that. And so all of their angry or sad reactions are just giving you even more of an ick, because you're feeling just so many feelings underneath that you're trying to avoid, that it's just giving you this repulsed feeling, like you just want to run away. And then the last coping strategy is, my ex would never have made me feel this way. My ex would have been so much better at this or so much better at that. And it could be a number of different exes. It's usually their phantom ex that they're thinking about at that time. So with my dismissive avoidant ex, he, at the very end, his coping strategy was that he had reached out to an ex from when they were both 16 years old. And he talked about how she was very outdoorsy and how they could go frolicking in the forest together. Okay, that's not a good reason to leave. That is something that's easily resolvable. I'm sorry you don't think I'm outdoorsy, but you've also never asked me to go outside with you. So, how would you really know? And those things that are easy to be resolved if you just communicate with each other and try a little harder. But the avoidant is very committed to leaving at that point. So they are going to use anything they can to justify why they need to leave. And they are typically always going to have a phantom ex. And what I want to make clear to people is that the phantom ex, or all these icks that they get, it has nothing to do with you. And it does not mean that this ex is better than you in any way. Because what happens with avoidance, it's all just a weird mind game. Because once they get enough time away from you, where they have no access to you at all, they often start idealizing you again. the person that they had such an ick over, right? They start idealizing you again because maybe they go out and date some other people and then they're like, oh, they weren't as good as that person. And so then they start idealizing you because they haven't had access to you, you know? They're able to build this false reality of you again. So it's all just this weird mind game that they make up in their head. But for the avoidant, it feels so real. That's what I really want to get across is like, it feels so real to them. There is no convincing them otherwise. There is no possible way that the person I was having the situationship with could have convinced me to stay and be romantically attracted to him. I wasn't. I was committed on ending things because I was literally feeling so smothered, overwhelmed, and getting the ick in so many different ways, even though I could logically see that this was such a great person that there was nothing wrong with. I was just having all these fucking weird thoughts coming up. And it's just the strangest thing. So don't take those things personally that they do to you. This is part of their underlying attachment wound, and it's not your fault, and their ex is not better than you. It's just all a weird mind game. Okay, bye.